Welcome to this panel. So first of all, I would request you to just a quick introduction, just for everybody to know your journey, to know what you're doing. Okay? So just take this one. Yeah, go on.
Hello friends, this is Vivek Sharma. I've made a film called Bhootnath, and I'm being part of film industry since last 25 years. I was born and entered here and faced a lot of nepotism and a lot of problems, a lot of struggle. But the beauty of creative world is that it gave me chance, and it's still giving me chance. I'm full of possibilities and hopes. So I'm here to discuss the bridge between films and OTT platform and the phrase bold is gold.
Hi, as already twice said before, my name is Kashmera Shah. And I have transitioned from being an actor into writing and direction. The name of my company is Filmx, and we just released the trailer of my film at Cannes. We opened the Indian pavilion with my film, and hence I'm fortunate enough to be here. And I'm a new player as far as direction and OTT platforms are concerned, so I'm learning more than advising. But yeah, I'm not a new player where bold is concerned, so I think I'll have a couple of tips. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm Akshada. I head content syndication and partnerships at Pocket Aces. Under Pocket Aces, we run 3 channels and 1 application, which is called Loco. Our 3 channels are Filter Copy, Gobble, and Dice Media. You may have known Dice Media's Little Things to be on Netflix, and season 3 is coming up this year. So that's what I look after.
Kushal.
Hi, my name is Kushal Sanghvi. I've been with sort of technology and digital for about 20 years. I hear discussions of this and sort of I think I get goosebumps of sort of hearing from people, OTT, sort of content, digital technology, and all the new words of sort of ML, AI, and all that. But the fact still remains that I think this is what keeps me alive and going. I'm currently having multiple roles, but the one that I'm representing today is a company called Integral Ad Science, headquartered in New York. It's the largest company which is in data mining and assessing almost granular millisecond in terms of what's really happening across almost every digital channel. And we specialize primarily in understanding in terms of how it's impacting brands, how it's impacting users, how it's impacting decisions people take to make going to any place in terms of consumption for e-commerce or whatever as well. Thank you.
Karan.
Hi, I'm Karan Taurani again. I'm Vice President with Elara Capital, and I am in charge of the media research over here. We do a lot of in-depth analytics and detailed research work for TV, OTT, exhibition, print segment.
Okay, so let's get on with the topic. So I'll ask Kashmera immediately about boldness in movies. Boldness in movies as it was perceived, it has been perceived. How has the digital space changed the way people look at bold content?
Well, I think it all started when the government banned porn on web. So when that happened, and savitabhabi.com and stuff like that got shut down, people started scampering. Well, what I just found out that there's hardly or no, Vivek will be able to answer this better, censorship as far as web series is concerned. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So due to that, a lot of content became available to everybody. Like if I were to, and geo help, of course, you know, a lot of things became free. So from the driver to the assistant to the managing director of a company could get anything and everything that he could watch on his tablet or on his phone. Me, for example, when I started writing and directing, people told me, you have to make a bold film. So we went ahead and made a bold film. Then they said, no, you need to make a clean film. So we went and made a clean film. I made 2 films. So when the clean film was very clean, where even the father does not hug the child, so clean, now they're saying, no, you need to make a bold film. So they are really confusing us as directors and writers and actors. We know things sell, but you can't really quantify entertainment. Like Hemant just said that on YouTube, the Haryanvi channel was the most popular. It had the most following. I just realized I've also seen it. So when we don't have these lights and these big songs and this rigmarole and the crores of rupees spent on just a song, how can you just justify that, yeah, your audience is actually going to come to a theater and watch that? Or they're going to go to the OTT platform and watch that web series or that film just because the song is good? Or is it content driven? You never know. You cannot tell now and how an audience will react to entertainment. Whether it's because it's bold they are watching it, or whether it's content heavy, or whether they're just watching it because it's word of mouth. Today I'm as famous as my followers. If I had 10,000 less followers 1 week ago, and I put the picture of a coffee cup, and I got 5,000 more in a day. I have no idea why. So how do you really, and it's true, huh, Vivek? I have no idea. So I actually took a picture of me coming in the car. I've got 2,000 likes. I don't know what people like. No more, you know? So it's not just boldness that sells. Content has to be good, but sometimes weird content also sells, you know? My 2-year-old, we just celebrated their birthdays. I have twins. They were dancing and they got about 2 lakh hits. I've never got 2 lakh hits in my life. So you can't really put a caption on what sells. It's not just boldness. It can be anything. We are here to make good content, and we are here to make bold content, and we are here to make really religious content also. You can never tell.
Okay. So Vivek, the definition, if I could say, of boldness, has it kind of evolved from the movie arena to the digital ecosystem?
See, bold content was always existing. It is just that OTT platforms have given them more visibility. There was one Kanti Shah filmmaker who was very, very popular. And now there are many Kanti Shahs. So the competitiveness of OTT platform has generated more bold content. Like Alt Balaji came up with Gandhi Baat 1, Gandhi Baat 2, with due respect to them, and suddenly Ullu app. And these names were so catchy that Panwalas and Ola drivers were getting hot to this. Aapne Ullu app dekha kya? Like 3 weeks ago, a girl called me. She said, "Sir, I'm Pankhuri and I'm from this production house, and aap ek erotic series banayenge hamare liye, something like XXX." I said, "What is the storyline?" We will create that. We'll create around that. So they first assume is the bedroom stories, and then they are like trying to weave story around. So this bold, I thought that as a filmmaker, bold means something path-breaking, something which will be new narrative, and something which has a better visual narration, better performance, because this is performing art. So there's no art, there's no performance. And the requirement is becoming more and more. So it's good and it's scary, both. It's like it's giving you freedom, but also giving you restriction creatively.
Okay, so Kushal, do you see creativity and performance in terms of actors with content which are turned bold on digital space?
I think, for a moment, I know this is the last session, Deepak, and I think we are a mature audience. And I must confess that we're talking here about OTT, which is created primarily for the fact of one-to-one viewability. Yeah? The whole premise of digital content didn't begin now. It began years back, and the premise for content was pornography. Digital as a medium thrives only at the back of the largest amount of revenue, the kind of money which pornography generates. Let's for a moment understand that, there is business, there is ethics, there's morals, there's content and all of that. But what sells, and we know that primarily because I've sort of spent many years being a marketer, being a content creator, as well as being on the side of deciding budgets on the agency side of business as well, is that we realize that eyeballs will gravitate towards something which is new, edgy, controversial, unique. Now, this is all words or probably phrases which kind of synonyms to it, which is bold, right? But skin sells. Bad words sell. Everyone talks about House of Cards, Game of Thrones. But what really worked in Game of Thrones is actually those scenes which were not seen before. And that's exactly the reason why it is as big as it is. So let's not try and put it under the carpet. and try and say that this is not going to work and we want new, fresh content. They're just buckets, and we need to figure out that yes, if, for example, a platform like Alt succeeds of creating all of these edginess or controversies or whatever you want to call, and others will remain away from it by saying our bold is cricket or our bold is something else. But the bold version or that sort of meaning of bold is relevant to that business that they fall into.
So, Akshada, how do you see the storyline, the way these stories are made now on the digital platforms? So, do you see creativity? Do you see just as Vivek was saying, just for the sake of having some bold scenes or something like that?
See, I think boldness, when you are looking at when the definition of boldness, right? I think it's become synonymous with something adult, some skin show, something of that sort, right? I don't think that is bold. I think our audience is very smart. I think if you are grabbing eyeballs with those kind of scenes and those kind of things, sure, you will get the eyeballs, but I don't know how much sustenance is there. Our audience is extremely smart and they're looking for good content. For me, what boldness is having a voice. Whether or not you have censorship on digital audience, on the digital platforms or on YouTube or OTT platforms, I think you're still answerable to an entity which is your audience, whether or not you're answerable to a censorship platform or not. So content for me is still extremely key. If you, for me, bold content is not something where there is a lot of skin show. For me, bold content is where the content also has a voice and it's path-breaking. For me, bold content is something like a Made in Heaven, where content, that content is focused on bold topics, and what has been shown is actually required by this. Also, if you look at our series, Little Things, when it released in 2016, it was about a couple living together, right? It's something that was not done before. Even Permanent Roommates is based on that topic. For me, that is bold. For me, that kind of storytelling is actually representative of the kind of society that we are living in and not forcing something down the audience.
So, Karan, how do you analyze the response of the audiences, like in the recent times, to such content, such platforms who are actually showing content which are term bold? How do you analyze the response of the audience?
So basically, if you see again, I have a very deferred kind of a view on this. Bold content will get you that slight edge in terms of viewership, but that may not be sustainable over a period of time. So, I might just watch bold content, pay for a 1-month subscription, and, that's about it. After that, there's sort of free bold content which is available online. So if that bold content was the case, today Alt Balaji would have been one of the biggest OTT players in terms of subscribers, if you get that. But that's not the case. So, audience, again, as she mentioned, the audience is matured, audience is smart, and they would not really just go for the bold content and just for the bold scenes. That will be just a one-off kind of a thing. Again, in terms of measuring the measurement part where it comes to the different channels and the kind of content they are making. So today's time, I mean, definitely this is one of the added features which is there in every web series, in every program which they are making. So whereas you have got good quality content, good quality stories, there is also a slight amount of boldness which has been attached to these kind of web series. And the primary reason for that is to pull the youth audience to watch that kind of content. So there shouldn't be any kind of big deal made or make about it. Like, for example, if you watch a Game of Thrones, there were some really, uncensored scenes in that, and someone watching in the US won't make a big deal about it, but someone watching India will be like, oh my God, that's so crazy. So that mindset approach has to change in India, and I think the youth is now starting to realize that it's not a big deal, to watch these kind of scenes in a web series. In fact, it's a good thing because the flow of the content, the flow of the storytelling is not lost after, the censorship thing which comes in. So I think overall it's a good thing which is happening, and the youth definitely likes watching such kind of content, but bold is just a part of it. It's not that the bold sells.
But you know Alt Balaji only for bold content. You don't recognize them for something else.
Yeah,
I mean, the moment you talk about Alt Balaji, you know about Gandhi Baat and Ragini MMS.
But if you look at the reviews for Alt Balaji content, if you look at the number of subscribers they've got, I think it's very minuscule as a number. So they've never ever picked up, as a platform in the likes of Amazon, Netflix, or probably a Hotstar. So that's the reason again here. So I would really just watch one episode, or probably I'll subscribe for a month, but I'm not going to keep on going on for a yearly package or something of that sort, because I've got other avenues to watch bold content. Why would I go to an Alt Balaji?
So, also, I think All Balaji, along with their, the content that they are known for, like Gandi Baat and all, they also have a lot of other content on their platform, which a lot of other audiences on their app are watching, and they may not be marketing it because that might be their positioning, but definitely they are producing content which is different from their image.
I think they have made the bold content as their USP. Rest everything is a byproduct. I mean, I as a filmmaker, what I know about All Balaji is Ragi and MMS and Gandi Baat 1 and 2.
But see, here the point is the boldness has to go with the flow of the series or the storytelling. You can't just,
not happening.
You can't just show boldness for the sake of it. So today, Alt Balaji is facing a lot of criticism only because they're showing bold content for no reason. I mean,
I saw the press conference of this guy who was launching Ullu app. With due respect to them, he said कि हमने उल्लू नाम इसलिए रखा है, हम वो दिखाना चाहते हैं जो रात को होता है, जो उल्लू जागता है. This is your perspective towards the content. So you're very clear about things that you are going to show the bold content. And some of the requirement came to one of my friend कि सर सुहागरात पे कुछ लिख के दीजिए. They wanted 5 minutes के skits की shows जिसमें सुहागरात में क्या क्या हुआ. How can you come up with that thing? It's like सुहागरात can be part of one episode as one incident of a story. But around Suhagrat, you have to create...
Precisely. So around bold, you can't make your content. Your
that's what I'm
bold
saying.
thing has to be a part of the
It's
entire
too much
content
in the
and storytelling.
face. It's too much in the face. Like when I was flying to Ahmedabad and the old lady was sitting next to me and I was just surfing Instagram. And she started doubting my intention. She's like, oh my God.
So I want to just intercept. It's not about creating an entire narrative on bold, but it's about putting that bold in the middle of your narrative and making it sell.
Correct.
How many of us, for example, have remembered in the so many years of all our Hindi movies, that in this movie, there was a smooch scene. And in this movie, there was a girl wearing a white sari. And in this movie, there was someone, dancing under the waterfall. Now, that's bold, right? And the movie still sells. So let's be honest to ourselves that putting a kiss, putting the F word, or showing nudity is only going to make your product sell. Balaji, for example, for what it is today, is not putting its marketing dollars. It doesn't have the marketing spends of a Netflix or an Amazon in the country. Had they had that, they would have had at least the same number of users as what Amazon has. And that's the honest truth, because we look at spends every single week of what Amazon spends, what Netflix spends, and that's exactly how they're building up their numbers as well. So the point is, Deepak, to answer the question, is more about the fact that we're not here to sort of say that, do we want to create an entire bold series? Someone can take that stance and create an entire bold OTT platform. But if you are able to create something which is sensational, and that happens on not just OTT as a platform, but the moment someone creates something bold on TikTok, suddenly the numbers go up. The moment someone is showing skin on a particular thing, and that's exactly what sells. And that's on the basis of that, suddenly then you have advertisers walloping up suddenly and say, put the monies. Just open the flow and put all your monies on Google, on Facebook, because their eyeballs are coming there. And that's exactly the business of what media is.
Yes, allow me to have Kashmera's say on that. So basically, being an actress, being an actor, in fact, doing bold scenes some time back in movies or something like that, had a perception. Now, the same context of digital space, you can actually be stars in no time.
Yeah, definitely. There are, the TikTok people have more followers than I do. Absolutely. Here, everybody is a star, and I don't recognize half of them, obviously, because I'm not spending my time on social media. I'm making films, But to answer that question too, see, there's a series called Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives. These are the kind of shows I watch. And I am a repeat audience. I go and watch them over, after a year, I'll probably put it on and watch the entire 6 seasons of Sex and the City. There's a lot of sex in that, but it's script-driven. It's not in the face. And that's us. We come back to the audience. We come back to who is our audience. We are the second largest populated country in the world. We can't segregate audiences like that. There may be just 2% of audiences that like content that I like. But I'm an actor. I have to, cater to everybody. So if somebody wants to just watch dances or somebody just wants to watch sex-driven scripts, then they have another, they have these Alt Balaji, Gandhi Baat to watch. But like she said, there's a lot of other shows. But maybe they are not doing as well as Gandhi Baat is because all the advertisers are going there. Because there are a lot of eyeballs there. There is no good thing or bad thing about this. I feel it's a surge. For example, on television, when there was Balika Vadhu, everybody wanted to do series of these 10-year-old and 12-year-olds. Then came the Nagins. So now everybody is the Nagins and the crocodiles, right? Then the witches have come. Now the witches are there. So it's just a surge. But sex will not die because we are the country of Kama Sutra. So
Yeah. So boldness, Vivek, is not just sex. Is also the language, because we've seen also more freedom in terms of the language being used on the digital space. So it's reasons like, okay, it's just like we are in everyday life, kind of portrayal. So how do you see this dimension of
See,
things?
what you're saying is fine. That's the balance. That's
Yeah.
the balance between creativity and some pinch of salt. That's fine. But right now what's happening is that everybody, the web should not be a creative dustbin. It should not be a SCA, sub chale aao. It's still a specialized field. And I'm excited for web content so that I can showcase my creativity and better narratives. Maybe, see, there's a difference between hotness, glamour, and nudity. Like Kashmera is hot and sexy and glamorous. But what you see in Gandhi Baat or in Ullu app, things are completely different, which you cannot. Yes. So my objection observation is that there's no creativity. And if the demand from the market, as he said, ki revenue generation. So am I approaching to a model which is just generating a revenue? Am I working as a filmmaker or a director to generate revenue for these platforms? Then I'm not excited.
If
Karan,
I could
Karan?
answer that.
There's a point which I want to make about the marketing spends part. So, I can actually tell you this, that today, even if Alt Balaji's got marketing spends like Amazon, Netflix, I'm very much sure they won't go anywhere. One major reason is the lag in the creativity team. So the kind of content they have and the kind of, the stuff they put within the content in terms of the bold scenes and all is not done in a proper way. Now look at something like a Sacred Games. I think they've done wonders. They have bold content, they've got nudity, they've got the F word as well. But they've done wonders not only because of the F word or the nudity, but because of the good quality content which they have. So the content is of the utmost important. Look at Bollywood today. I mean, 5 years prior, who thought that people are talking that only sex and Khan sell? Today, where are the Khans and where's the sex? I mean, the kind of content Bollywood is making right now. I mean, you don't have Shah Rukh making a movie for the next 1 year. You got Amir, who has a disaster with Tugs of Hindustan. Only Salman Khan surviving, and sexual movies right now being released. Where is everything else? The content is doing very well right now. You're seeing good quality collections for every movie path-breaking records. Why? Because the content is good. So similar thing is going to happen on digital as well. So content is king. You need to have a focus on the good quality content.
But I think it will have a restricted pace. Because as a filmmaker, when I entered in film world, there was a visionary called Suraj Badjatya, who changed the whole revenue model. He made Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. He asked theaters to renovate, to put up the new sound system, and he increased the ticket rates during the weekends. That's how he taught us within this country. You might be surprised to know that 125 crore public mein se, regular audience sirf 2 crore hai. Now rest of the people are engaged in these OTT mobiles, 35 mm to 5 inch. So their journey has shifted. Me as a filmmaker, I was worried about the item era when people were putting a lot of item songs. Then suddenly satellite boom came. You can see the film influence in television, like a lot of songs were being picturized in episodes. Now comes the digital. Now you have
I
to
think even in
fight
digital,
again.
Yes, Akshada.
I think even in digital, you have to stay extremely true to the content, right? You must, in digital, having few cuss words here and there, having few expletive words here and there, some scenes, is not the recipe for success, according to us. We have stayed consciously away from using cuss words in our videos. However, they are still very representative of how the youth behaves in the country right now. They are very relatable, they are extremely humorous. But if it's something we are not doing in real life, we don't see the value add in putting that out there just because it's going to get us some eyeballs and may get us few thousand more views, right? Even then, our content in the country, we are pretty much the top content creator in the comedy genre on Facebook and on Instagram. In our web series that we've done, all of our concepts are extremely relatable. Ours is the cleanest content on digital right now. And for that reason, our syndication also reflects that, right? When we give it to other partners as well, they are, they had this, like first time when I started the digital wing in Pocket Aces for syndication, the first reactions that we got were, oh, it's digital content, we can't take it, it's too risky, we'll have to do so much S&P, we cannot allow this on our platform, especially on in-flight. And we showed them our content and we showed them that this is staying true to the audience, this is staying true to the concept, and we've not added something because, it will get us eyeballs. And currently we are the largest, our catalog is the largest available catalog on in-flight platforms. So I think staying true to the content and showing only what's necessary. Of course, our language also has certain cuss words, but it's only when the script demands it. If a young person is going to say some words at certain point, we are not shying away from that, but we are not adding them for additional effect.
Okay, so Kushal, how do you see the battle, if I could say, in the marketing and promotion strategy, whether it is in the titles that are being put forward to attract the audience to this platform and this platform?
I think they play a very, very large role, because the fact is, I think, to just stem out from the fact of sort of, we never sort of saw words or even titles which were sort of, I think, sort of things which sort of, and I can say at least names, like for example, how many of us would ever sort of look at sort of a name like, for example, Mirzapur, for example? But how many of us would think of watching a show which is never heard of, right? So I think consciously, I think the marketing teams are really sort of, I think, figuring out ways and means to get creativity out of actually putting something new out there. And it's sort of not really sort of saying that, hey, we're making old wine in a new bottle, but actually sort of saying that, hey, this is actually new wine in a new formulation. Because the content is completely new, the entire styling is completely new, and so that's the real aspect of sort of, I think, what we want to sort of talk in terms of sort of how, and even it's the approach in terms of, if you just look at Deepak, how, for example, marketing has happened. They've moved from, I think, what they were doing in the past in terms of doing the usual sort of full-page ads or the television commercials and some stuff. And off late, if you'd see, there's a lot of stuff which you're seeing in terms of which is technology-led. So how many of you guys, for example, saw some of the stuff that sort of, I think, when at the promotion of when Sacred Games began, and there was a large teaser that they were running with Saif at airports, for example. So I think a lot of newness comes into even thinking of sort of what the content is and how do you sort of give, where it can be disseminated from. But I'm still of that firm opinion that at the end of the day, bold means something new. And if it somehow, in some manner, reflects the fact that if your DNA is basis the fact that if you're a technology media company and you're going to be sort of viraling out stuff on mediums which are screens of today, there's got to be, I think, a fair amount of, I think, acceptability to the fact that we live in worlds wherein the word can be, as in language which we use in common play today, can be used on television as well. Then we can't be using, kind of saying in boardrooms, saying, what, our company doesn't allow that. That's all hogwash. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, we use the F word or the X word and some stuff as easy as possible. It's just that the fact is sort of, even from a marketing perspective, we see a lot of that jargonization. How many of us keep looking at sort of the way copy is written on narratives that are spoken in terms of just visual communication? Even they do. I don't know how many in the audience have watched television today. Anyone raise hands? No one. No one watches TV? Wow, 2. How many of you guys have seen the trailer of the new Lion King? Everyone has, right? So now that's, everyone's looking forward to what we saw 20 years back of a film, right? That's bold for me. It's just, and you see the way the whole packaging is, it honestly gives you a reason to say, I want to see it on 19th July. Now that's marketing at its best.
Okay, Kashmera, you see. I mean, we've seen in the recent times, like the digital space has seen actors who maybe weren't really seen for quite some time coming back and really deliver the kind of performance which got appreciation. So, is it the new space that is opening, maybe opening larger for actors and providing opportunities?
Okay, I'm going to answer this as an actor.
Yeah.
I started working from 97, so 97 to now is 22 years. What I did on screen is what they told me to do. What I was actually thinking is what is being shown on digital platforms. This is the real truth, you know. We don't get those opportunities to do or speak the way we actually are in real life. There's something called spoken dialogue. Yeah. And then there's some like really nice dialogues written by the reverend, you know, big writer, Javed Akhtar and all. Fir aapko waise hi bolna hai, you have to dub it in a certain way. But digital content is very close to what you and I speak, like the F word or talking about sex. Or it's very casual, I'm living it with my boyfriend, so what the hell? You know, this is what digital content allows an actor to do. They allow an actor to perform, they allow a director to be able to do his creativity. There is no boundaries, you know. As for me, as long as Tom and Jerry don't change, I'm fine.
It's also, there's no burden of hit and flop. We, from creative point of view, that there's no burden. Otherwise, in films, you have to make hoarding like that, and you have to do this. A film chalegi nahi to kya hoga? So in OTT, there's no such burden. So there's another kind of a freedom, like what Kashmera said, ki she wanted to play certain kind of roles, she's getting those.
Okay, so
also on OTT, I would like to add that, you know, having actors who've not been successful on films, or having actors who've basically not been able to showcase the bold content on films, it's a very good thing because it gives an initial viewership increment, okay, whenever someone wants to view it. Because Vivek Oberoi coming on an Inside Edge, he already has a big fan following base, so people really want to watch Inside Edge kind of a series rather than any new actor coming over there on a web series. So having people from Bollywood, you know, into digital is a very, very big thing in terms of driving consumption patterns.
okay, any questions from the audience as of now? No one. No one. So basically, from like as an actor and as a director, the digital space opportunities is something which is interesting to you?
Absolutely, absolutely interesting if it gives me freedom to experiment with narrative and not forcing boldness of their kind and striking a balance between creativity and boldness. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Oh. Yes, question. Okay, huh. Please.
See, we are talking about web series, boldness, and we are talking about Bollywood and something. There are a lot of, like Mr. Kushal said, a lot of contents are available in many platforms. But you must have heard it, that TikTok, which has the maximum subscriber in India, was banned for at least 7 days. And they lost a lot of subscribers, almost around 10 million subscribers. Then it has come up. So do you think, and they have been warned, they have to go, if not censored, they have to check it out. If anything found again, they will be totally out from India. So do you think if the web series also comes under censor, which is not today, it will affect?
No, there was a film which Saregama had produced. It was called Ashchar Fakit, and it was renamed as Ashchar Chakit in Netflix. Because India, we as an audience, yes, this is a very close confinement. We are bold enough to talk anything. The moment you will go home, you will be a changed person. So, so fear of discipline is required.
That is what I am asking.
Yes, I think it's required. Fear of discipline is required. बोलते हैं बड़े बुजुर्ग की नजर रहनी चाहिए.
No, most of the people say otherwise also. You have to self-discipline. You have to think of yourself when you are making the web series. But like I say, I am saying very true thing is when TikTok was banned for I think 3-4 days only. There was almost a hue and cry that almost around 200 people are getting out of job. There are many things are happening, then they are not able to say. There are a lot of other platforms showing more than that. So there is a partiality also comes.
I think censorship is still like a double-edged sword. I think if self-regulation could work well, that will give us a better voice. to what we want to say and
I'm-
put out the content we
I am
want to
fully
put
agree
out.
with you, but thing is that in TikTok, they can only see or something. The uploading is doing by the normal people.
Yeah. Any comment on what he Kushal? No. So basically, we can see that this is a space that is interesting, which has opportunities for actors, for writers. So the actors are obviously interested. New directors are also interested. So you're planning any project basically for the digital space as a director?
I would like to sell the one that I've done. So, yes, I'd like to meet these people later. Yeah, 100%. See, I think bold, I write bold, but for me, like she said, and a couple of people have mentioned this before, a woman stepping out of her house in India is bold. You know, any woman taking up a man's job is bold, and there's nothing like a man's job or a woman's job. But I want to show that in my film. I'm a director today, so it's not that I've taken up his job. I'm just trying to show the world through a woman's eyes. If the same script is given to Vivek, he will probably direct it differently. I will see it differently, I'll direct it differently. So for me, that is bold. You know, just wearing less clothes or coming out of swimming pool is not bold. You know, just being able to voice your opinion in this world that we live in today is bold. For me, even to tell my 2-year-old that no, he cannot take my phone is boldness, because I have to direct that. That discipline will come from me. Whatever you will be comfortable speaking at home is what we should be able to do for you on web series and webisodes and anything that is easily be downloaded by people, whether it's people that work for us or people we work with or our kids. So we need to have that inner discipline, but then that's another panel, so we'll talk about that later, okay?
Sure. So on this note, ladies and gentlemen, we really have to wrap up the panel, but it was a very interesting discussion. Thank you very much for your participation.